Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at 11 starts now.
Welcome to Friday night. I'm meteorologist Andrew Humphrey. Turning into a chilly one with temperatures back to around the freezing mark, so a frost advisory as we go into the overnight hours. What's ahead for Saturday afternoon? Where do temperatures go from here? Any rain for the weekend? I've got the answers in your weather forecast coming up.
A motorcycle crashes in southwest Detroit, and now serious questions about the cause arise. When 27-year-old Diego Medina wrecked his motorcycle, he didn't just hit a hole.
He ran across a deep construction hole that was only covered by pieces of wood. He was wearing a helmet but has serious head injuries, and now his family is desperate for answers, namely how this could happen and who's responsible. Jason Colthorpe is live tonight with more on this story. Jason, good evening.
Good evening, Kim. Just so many questions. You're right. Another one being, what does this family do now? Diego is the family's sole provider. He doesn't have health insurance, now has a stack of medical bills. But in regard to this crash, his family says he wasn't speeding and he was in an area he knew extremely well. So again, who's to blame?
He went out for a ride and everything that he does every day.
Stephanie Medina and her husband Diego live in Southwest on Verner Highway. On October 7th, around 6:30, he was just a half mile from home when he approached a divided overpass.
He was trying to pass by a car. When he tried to pass by, the motorcycle fell into the hole.
Diego was rushed to Henry Ford with serious head injuries.
When I got there, they told me that he could die because he had bleeding out of his brain.
As Diego lied in the hospital, his family wondered why he wouldn't have seen a huge hole in the road. His cousin believes there was construction that had been covered by planks. They called us, and we called the city, which pointed us to the county, and ultimately the Department of Water and Sewerage. The day after our inquiries, crews were hard at work to seal up the spot where Diego crashed.
I was really angry. Because they could have put something on the hole.
DWSD tells Local 4 there was a crew there the morning of October 7th, and upon leaving the site, the crew secured the area with barricades and caution tape. It even sent us a picture, and it asked anyone with information to call police, suggesting someone else removed the barriers and tape.
He's the one who does everything for us.
Their family also includes their daughter, 2-year-old Casey. She doesn't understand what's happened to Daddy, but Stephanie does, and she plans to fight for him.
I never seen him like that. He really takes care of his family, so I want to take care of him.
And if that sounds a little like they may be seeking legal action on this, well, you're right. It's definitely on their radar. But again, who do you sue when you're not sure who's responsible yet? And in the meantime, to bridge those financial gaps, the family has set up a GoFundMe account. We've linked to it on our website, clickondetroit.com. Just click on this story. Kim?
Yeah, you know, Jason, you mentioned the barrier and the tape. That's all well and good. But the planks over a hole like that, is that a regular practice that they would do something like that?
That is a question we did not get an answer to yet, but I can tell you it definitely seems to be that those barriers and tape were definitely missing when he went over that. We also obtained the police report from this crash, and it makes no mention of any barriers or this being any sort of construction site. And as you can see from the one picture we did show in there, all those barriers after the crash, the motorcycles laying in the background there, all of those things are pushed to the side. So a lot of questions yet for this family.
Yeah. And we look forward to you following up and letting us know the outcome. We appreciate it, Jason.
We're kicking off the weekend with a frost advisory taking effect overnight for all of Metro Detroit.
Yeah, Andrew is in for Ben with a chilly night tonight.
Oh, that's right. I mean, we had a chilly morning and the chilly air is still overhead. We had highs today that were mostly in the 50s, some temperatures barely making it to 50 degrees. But with that chilly air still in place, temperatures plummet again, down close to the freezing mark, so a frost advisory in effect overnight and for your Saturday morning for Detroit and all of southeast Michigan. Currently, we've got temps mostly in the 40s, but we're seeing some cold to 30s already out there. It's already near the freezing mark, just 2 degrees above freezing for our friends over in Port Huron at 34, while it's 39 in Pontiac, 30 degrees, 2 degrees below freezing, some of those colder valleys around Ann Arbor, and 37 in Adrian. Now you can see we have some scattered raindrops that are just overhead. Some of these drops are making it to the ground, some are not. The air overhead here in Detroit and southeast Michigan is pretty dry, so I think it remains rather dry as we go through the night tonight. Any raindrops certainly fade away as they get closer, but by morning, many temps will be in the low 30s, including right here in Motown. It will be dry throughout much of the day tomorrow, but how high do temperatures go for your Saturday afternoon? We'll talk about that, your Sunday forecast, and of course your 7-day forecast in minutes.
All right, Andrew, former Vice President Joe Biden spending the day campaigning in Metro Detroit. His visit coming just hours before President Trump will be in West Michigan to hold a rally. Mara McDonald had a chance to talk one-on-one with the Democratic nominee. Mara, a stark contrast in campaigning from 2016.
Oh, Devin, for sure. You know, in 2016, the Clinton campaign ignored this state until it was just simply too late. Clearly an error. The Biden campaign does not feel like repeating. Let me show you.
Hello, Michigan.
Biden campaigning with Governor Whitmer and Senators Stabenow and Peters by his side. Campaigns don't spend time in states this close to an election unless the numbers tell them to. In this case, with Biden, it's likely blue-collar workers where he needs to build support. I asked him why his poll numbers among that group were soft.
Well, I don't know, but my whole career, I've had the support of and support of blue-collar workers, particularly here in Michigan in the automobile industry. I was the one who was able to put together the program to bring back Chrysler and General Motors, creating 1 million jobs.
Biden was also generous in his praise of Governor Whitmer.
There's not a better governor in the United States of America than Gretchen Whitmer.
But what would be different if it was a Biden administration and not a Trump administration in dealing with COVID? After all, federal dollars are already backfilling our state budget. The feds were asked to build field hospitals that we did not need, and they did send ventilators.
I would set out standards that not all of which I could mandate, but I would move on, and that is that every single person should be wearing a mask. The head of the CDC held up a mask and said if, in fact, we wore these masks, it would save more lives between now and January than if we had a vaccine.
And about Judge Amy Coney Barrett, who by any measure is an accomplished jurist, and yet he does not support her confirmation, nor does the party.
It's fundamentally what her judicial philosophy is. I'm not doubting she's a decent, good person. She seems like a lovely person. She has a beautiful family and all of that. But that's not the issue. The issue is her judicial philosophy going to prevent her from saying there is a right to privacy? That, for example, you know, and it goes on, but they are the issues.
Back here live, Biden had 2 campaign events today, one in Southfield, one in Detroit, and in talking to some campaign staff, they made it clear they expect the former vice president to be back in Detroit before Election Day. We are live downtown tonight. I'm Mara McDonald. Back to you.
Yeah. All right, Mara. And with only 18 days to go until Election Day, the hotly contested Gary Peters-John James Senate race will be the focus of a special hour-long edition of Flashpoint coming up Sunday. Hope you'll join us at 10 a.m. You'll hear from both candidates. And then that will be followed by Meet the Press with Governor Whitmer, joining host Chuck Todd.
All absentee ballots here in Michigan must arrive to your clerk's office by 8 p.m. on Election Day, November 3rd, in order to be counted. The ruling by the the State Court of Appeals, I should say, overturns a ruling by a Court of Claims judge last month. It would have allowed absentee ballots to be counted if they arrived within 2 weeks of the election. Also struck down is the option to have a non-family member return a completed ballot with voter consent.
As we head into the weekend, the state is reporting more than 2,000 new cases of COVID-19, and that's for the second straight day.
Today's case count is 2,015, down just slightly from yesterday's record number of 2,030. 14 more people have died of coronavirus here in Michigan. We're not the only state seeing an increase in cases. According to Johns Hopkins, the country has averaged more than 53,000 new daily cases for the past week, an increase of more than 55% in just over a month, with 30 states reporting more cases this past week compared to the previous week.
Now a Local 4 update. An Ecorse couple is charged with murder in the death of 13-month-old Zaire Reed. James Gibson and Lisa Reed are also currently facing first-degree child abuse charges in connection with Zair's surviving twin, Zion. In July, police found the twins suffering from what they said was weeks of obvious abuse. Prosecutors say the crimes happened while Gibson was living with Reed and the twins. He is not the father. The couple is due back in court on Monday.
5 men will stand trial in connection to the domestic terror plot to kidnap Governor Whitmer. A federal judge in Grand Rapids ruled there is enough evidence against the suspects. Investigators told the judge they relied on informants and undercover agents to uncover the plan to abduct the governor. Today, defense attorneys questioned whether the men were just big talkers who didn't intend to go through with the plot. The judge agreed to move forward with a conspiracy to kidnap charge. The 5 men face life in prison if convicted. Still ahead, the FDA issuing a warning about over-the-counter painkillers.
You know, Wyatt is urging pregnant women not to use ibuprofen after 20 weeks of pregnancy.
He's just walking down the alley southbound with the stick on fire, and it is very on fire.
An officer is driving when a man sets his patrol car on fire. What happened next? And how amazingly, nobody was hurt.
But first, a new global study reveals how effective remdesivir is when it comes to preventing coronavirus deaths. We'll have that next.